Everybody, welcome to a special segment of Pensado's Place. We have been in conversation with a company that we admire a lot. We told you about it last week on the Ciccarelli episode, Audiomovers, which is connected to Abbey Road. So start there. You don't need to go any farther. Is doing some really incredible things that are tools that you can utilize now moving forward as our world ever changes. And we're blessed to have with us the head of product for Audiomovers, Igor Maxymenko. He's created this amazing thing called ListenTo. Igor, welcome.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So, man,
thank you for saving my life, Igor.
Yes. Start at the beginning. Tell us about ListenTo, the formulation of it, how it works. Give us your perspective.
Yeah, so a brief history. So it all began in 2017. I had a meeting with a couple of fellow sound engineers, and we basically had a conversation about like what are the tools that people may need, or something that will, they will use, and that will help them to actually to achieve or to work faster or to achieve something else. Mm-hmm. And at that time, the conversation I was actually with Yoad Nevo, who's a mix engineer and my fellow Waves audio product manager as well. Mm-hmm. Basically, the conversation went well, and like we got to the conclusion that probably remote collaboration is something that will help people to work faster and will eliminate a lot of travel need. The problem was back then that there was nothing there that actually will allow people to do this, like any mixing or any kind of audio remote collaboration or collaborative work together without any complex setups or something like that. And so I took 2 days to think about it, and I was like wondering myself, why actually there is nothing that makes it simple? Why all the tools that exist right now is fairly complex? Yeah. And I had an idea in my mind how to actually make it simple and easy for anyone who uses like DAW or familiar with DAW to make it work. Mm-hmm. And that's how idea with the plugin that will stream audio came about. And then I met with our CTO, Yuri, who's, I laid down the idea and asked him, can it be achieved or can it be like implemented in this way that I described? And he said, yeah, there is no problem with that. And off we go. We started to implement it, and we had the first prototype within 3-4 weeks.
What?
Yeah.
You had the first prototype in 3 to 4 weeks?
Yes. It was really fast. So we had a proof of concept that it will work in 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah.
Wow. What's amazing about that is, in the position that we're in and blessed to be in, we get a lot of discussions about development cycles for product. And some things can take 6 months, a year, much longer. I think, tell me if I'm missing the point here, but the idea that you could get to it in 3 to 4 weeks and it'd be a good beta test model seems to me to speak to how you sort of simplified it, made it simple, made it work across categories. Am I close?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So we actually thought about the bare minimum of features that need to be in place in order to be like viable product, something that can be used by people. And again, the first prototype still doesn't mean that it's something that is ready to be released. Sure. We had long sleepless nights in order to understand how we actually going to sell it, because the biggest issue that back then we had is that we had to have servers and someone had to pay for them, and that was kind of something that brought us to the idea that we probably need to sell it as subscription rather than one-off product. Otherwise, if we sell it as one-off product, it will end up really fast, because there is not going to be enough money to pay for servers. And the reason to have servers was actually to simplify the actual user experience, because we have IT departments in different places. We have all kind of things like firewalls and things that not help in this. And the only way to make it work was actually to utilize servers. And yeah, and we released the first product was obviously it didn't have as many features as we have right now, and we didn't have the receiver back then, so you could actually stream from DAW to web page and listen on a web page, which was more than enough for like remote mixing job and other things. And later,
did you come with this pre-COVID or during COVID?
Yeah, it was pre-COVID. It was 2017. It was.
That's right.
Yeah, we didn't even think that something like that will happen. Like,
during 2020, 99% of my friends are engineers, audio engineers, and we were saved by using Audiomovers and ListenTo. And then with my assistants, I couldn't have worked. And I'd say that was probably one of the highlights, if you want to use that term, of the pandemic.
Technically, Dave, how do you implement it from your perspective?
Well, I can can mix, and instead of having my assistant by my side, we did it a little bit of a different way. We both had plugins, and so we were able to listen to the same thing. So I'm in my studio, I'm listening to Pro Tools, and my assistant is home listening to the same exact thing, and so that allowed me to keep working. I could have kept working, but it's not it's not fun when you're doing everything by yourself.
And this works on all kinds of DAWs, all kinds of platforms.
Yeah, it supports most major DAWs, and
is this where ListenTo is today, which is different and has more features than it did in 2017? Are you guys continuing to expand the envelope in terms of where it goes moving forward?
Right. Yeah. So we trying to strike this balance where it's still a simple to use tool, because that was one of the main objectives, is to create something that everyone will be familiar with, and could easily start a session without doing a lot of setup. And so you need to minimize number of features, yet you need to increase number of features to provide more features and options to people. So we definitely, within the development, we add in more and more features. We add in more clients. By client, I mean like applications or things where you can listen to stream or you can stream from. So it's going to expand very soon. And the goal is to provide sound engineers and musicians an option to stream from any, I would say, platform that they might want to stream, and receive on any platform that they might want to receive. So
well, we hope. Here's what I hope. I hope you and Matt and Dom and all the folks that we like at Audiomovers don't get pissed off at us, but we were bragging a little bit on you guys to people like Jack Antonoff and to Soundwave and to Lido, produced Halsey. We were just saying, we run across these tools and people that we think are incredible, and then we want our friends to know about it. So hopefully you don't mind, but we interviewed Jack recently, and he's coming up, and he's just one of our audience's most favorite, and obviously just a sickly talented, really brilliant dude. And we were saying, yo, man, you need to, he was like, send it to me. I was like, so, but honestly, my reaction when we started having this conversation a long time ago was actually because Dave was so excited, because it's something that he has used and is familiar with. And that, because we have the option of choosing so many different things that actually work, I know have to go through kind of a higher standard test. So, kudos to you guys. And then, you say Abbey Road, there's not much else to say. Now in the product line and ListenTo constantly evolving, are there other surprises coming down the pike in the future? Because when I think about collaboration today in the music space, it's so much broader than just mixing a song or whatever. I might be collaborating with an avatar in the metaverse, and we both need to be listening and reacting to the same thing. But I'm just saying those are challenges that you have to think about where stuff is going, and then how do you incorporate what goes on. I say it sort of facetiously, but our world is changing dramatically, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I think again, I won't say a lot about this because it's like a future roadmap, but we have a lot of things that we working on right now, and yeah, I think it's going to be really great. Really soon.
Hey Dave, Igor, that was Igor's way of saying, Herb, shut up. Your job is to ask the question, but I'm not going to tell you any news.
Hey Igor, I was a little bit surprised and completely taken aback and couldn't believe that you could stream Atmos in 714, and then also you had a system where you could actually have the collaborator have his speaker arrangement inside your inside ListenTo. I fell asleep last night. Well, no, I didn't, because I stayed awake trying to figure out how the hell can you do that.
Yeah, so you can potentially, not potentially, that's what people doing right now. You can stream Atmos speaker layout. I mean, it has to be identical. In some cases, like with the with the rear renders, you can actually stream different speaker layout. But most people stream exactly the same speaker layout. So, like for example, 714 setups. If they have another studio, one of the cases that was recently actually I heard about is a UK-based mix engineer who mixed an album of I can't say the band name, but a pretty famous band, and they sent a ADM file to them, and they played it back in some studio, like some listening space that no one was familiar with, and the reaction was like pretty bad, I would say. They didn't like it at all, and they actually saved it by sending a band and their manager to the studio that they own as well in New York, and they streamed. So they had like identical studios, one in London, another one in New York, and they streamed this audio, mixed album in Atmos with Audiomovers to studio in New York, and they were like, "Wow, it sounds amazing! It's perfect." That's it, and it basically saves the time, and people actually know what they listening to, and that's one of the things that we gonna do as well. Probably help people to get familiar with like Atmos spaces that can be utilized for like listening and stuff like that. Which I think.
And you stream in binaural now, right?
Yeah, so we have an option to stream binaural as well from Logic, because you all know that Logic now contains this Apple renderer as well as Dolby renderer. So now we can actually listen to the way people gonna enjoy the music and Apple Music using their AirPods. So we have an option in the ListenTo streamer transmitter. We have an option to select binaural option from 714 channels. It's going to be
a binaural option always on headphones or earbuds?
No, so the way it works is that the receiving end can actually use any headphones, and binauralization will happen before it gets into plugins. So you have Atmos render on a channel, on multi-channel. Then the renderer will render it into two channels, and then we can take it from multi-channel and take it the same way as render actually folds it down, and we stream it to the other end. So you can, on the other end, you don't need to have AirPods or something like that. I mean, it's beneficial to have because people are gonna know how it exactly sounds. But you can use any headphones, and
are there any applications that ListenTo can be utilized in the live space?
Yeah, it's interesting enough. We have several clients that remotely actually verify the production, or like for TV environments. I know that, again, I can't say names, but there's several big kind of acts. They were having like live streams, and the producer of the show actually was completely remote, and this is how they were actually listening to what was streamed like before it was produced.
Amazing.
What is the advantage of the app over the browser?
So we have, so I need to explain that within Audiomovers, we have in ListenTo, we have several clients that can receive and transmit. So we have plugin, we have a standalone application, we have web receivers. So there is no difference. The only option, with the exception that browsers will output audio only to a selected device as your system output. And in plugin, you can obviously route it to any channel. And with the standalone application, you can choose any audio device that you want to use as your audio output.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is probably every engineer on earth at some point in time would run out to the car to listen to his mix. That's gone. You can put it on your. You know how to do it, but man, it's a godsend. My car right now is a long ways from me, like maybe 20 feet, and you changed my life. I don't have to go out there anymore in the cold and the rain and lions and tigers and animals and So kudos to you. That's probably my favorite usage for it.
Yeah,
and
that's
you can stream to 10 things at the same time too.
You can stream actually to 40 places at the same time, and we even have accounts that can stream to 150.
Damn.
Jesus.
Yeah, you can have listening sessions with labels, with A&R people, with you name it, and they all can be in different places. They don't have to be in the same space. They can enjoy their like familiar listening environments.
Is your computer the size of a Buick?
It's really amazing given the product cycle, the idea, the application, the growth, and then we get a chance to sort of get a feel for how our community is moving early, and the early adopters who are talking about this, who are saying this is really effective, including obviously Dave, but a lot of our compatriots and advocates and so on and so forth. It's pretty universal. This is some badass shit, and people have been successful with it. Like it's not the theory that they like, it's the application that they like, and it's actually worked for them, and it's the interfacing is simple and it's understandable. So if I'm an audience person watching now and I want to give this a try, what do I do?
Yeah, so anyone can try it. They just need to sign up at audiomovers.com, and everyone gets a free trial, and they can try it and see if it works for them and what they can do with it.
No excuses, audience. There you go. Pensado's place brings it to you in the fourth quarter. They're coming from the horse's mouth. I mean, Igor, the cool part about Audiomovers is that almost everybody has a really difficult last name. So I fit right in there with them. Matt, Igor, Dron. I mean, I think Eddie's name was the simplest name. But what they do is they make really smart, simple, straightforward. It's complicated, but it's not complicated for you. And they have thought through that process so that you can utilize it, apply it, see how it works for you. If you have questions, get those questions answered. And you can go, try it out for free and see what it works. We can tell you that we have been involved with these guys for about 7 or 8 months preparing for this, and every step along the way has just been a company clearly ahead of the game and bringing tools. And what's exciting to me is about where the ride is going. Like it's here now, but damn, where does it? Because you really have to adjust to how the market evolves, correct?
Right. Yeah. And the funny thing is that we had a client with a very unusual application. Actually, like last week, it was a Congress hearing that had to be aired through several stations, and they actually utilized ListenTo to stream audio from some courtroom somewhere from Congress to several radio stations, and then it was aired and it went flawlessly.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really, really interesting.
Oh, wow. Oh, we need to talk. I got some relationships in that space. But to me, that's kind of what, when Dave and I talked about it, or Matt and I have talked about it, or the calls we've done, the thing that has really been interesting is that I don't know that there's a limitation to how to use this. If you've got sound and other people need to hear what you're hearing, there's a connective bridge here. And what we find is that, you know, sound and audio are now real important to everybody. And you can have a virtual experience, or you can have a good musical experience, or you can't have a streaming experience, or you can't have a live experience if the sound isn't correct. And the people who are artisans about the sound have the tools to make it the best they can for you. It diminishes your if they don't have that, and you guys are providing that. It's super exciting.
Yeah, you're right.
I know it's possible. I haven't done much of it yet, so I'm not up to speed. But recording someone remotely, say you're in LA and you want to record an artist in London. Describe how to do that.
Yeah, so
real time, by the way, with no latency or very little latency.
So there is going to be latency in any case because of the distance. But the way to work with this, it's going to be if you have a playback or like a backend tracks, and you stream it to London, to the other end. And then someone does something on top of that, it's streaming back to you. So whatever you're going to receive, you will need to adjust it manually, because like there's going to be latency involved. Unfortunately, the speed of light is too slow, and this is quite a distance between light to London. But yeah, there is. There is a minimum kind of work involved. You just manually adjust it. The recorded
by manually, do you mean actually send an email back, or
no, you record it on your, so you use receiver to receive audio back from London in LA, and it's going to be delayed, or like there's going to be offset.
Okay, so you have to do that yourself, put it in time yourself. That's not a big deal.
No, and we actually work with several DAW manufacturers to so they could update their engines, so we could utilize the automatic delay compensation. And if it's going to be ready, we're going to utilize that. And in that case,
that's a headline right there. That's a headline right there.
Yeah, but I don't know when it's going to be available, so I don't want to, But
the other thing that strikes me is that in the post-production streaming world, so if I'm shooting a movie at X and I need somebody who is, like you said, in LA or something else or whatever, and we need to make some critical audio decisions, and we need to be hearing it in a proper way so that it meets not only the aesthetic of what we're trying to do, but also the requirements that a lot of these streaming platforms have. Netflix has the most extraordinary audio requirements I've ever seen. Like, it's so complex, and the people who make this content, they take all this really seriously, because they have to check those boxes before the stuff comes out. So having a tool like ListenTo will allow them to sort of get that sameness that they need to have to hit the quality mark. Do you guys see that as a marketplace for you?
But yeah, potentially. I don't know a lot about that market, but again, given the fact that we actually stream, we have an options to stream like compressed and uncompressed formats, and uncompressed are actually bit accurate. So you can even utilize different metering if it's needed, like LUFS and anything that Netflix or anyone else requires, and basically you'll get pretty accurate picture of what's going on the master channel, on any channel in remote DAW. So yeah, I mean,
amazing.
Yeah, it's possible.
Well, Igor, with you involved, anything is possible. So the Lakers might return to winning form if I get them to listen to. They they can talk to each other and hear each other better. Before we jump off of here, Igor, any headlines that we missed that are important for us to talk about?
I don't know. I think we've talked about. It's simple to use. Streams audio, compressed, uncompressed. Does Atmos, does even more ambisonics if you want, up to 16 channels, and we can do even more if needed. So yeah.
I would say this in wrapping it up, which our audience knows from Dave and I. From day one, we've always felt that the people behind the product tell you a lot about the product. There's a big difference between technologists who are doing something because it's an assignment and craftsmen and partisans who are solving a problem and thinking about the audience and how to solve it for the audience, the various audiences. And Audiomovers is full of people who care about solving a problem, making it smart, making it simple, making the commitment, which is why we're such big fans. So you're hearing from the head of products right here, Igor. And I will tell you that every conversation with every staff person, every person on the team is just like this. It's people who care about music, love their craft, and are committed to not cutting a corner, doing something smart. Is that fair to say, Igor?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's true. It's really impressive. And I think Dave, and just in closing, I think Dave and I represent the metaphor. Dave's technical, he uses it in his mixes. I do something else, but I completely understand what it does. I completely can talk about to somebody else with a little bit of information. And that tells you a lot about the way it's being thought about. It's not just for this small group of people. Yeah. You can use this too. And we recommend that you use it because they've thought about it in such a way that it makes sense for you to do it. I'm going to go use ListenTo to try to talk to my pets. So one of my dogs is having some headphones fitted for him right now. He has no idea why, but when I'm at the doctor and I go, "Hey, Finnegan," he's gonna go, "Hey, Dad, I can hear you." Igor, we are, and please tell Matt and the whole team, we are happy to be partners of Audiomovers. We think that you guys are changing the game. Audience, you're going to hear more and more about them. There's more things coming down the pike, and we're going to bring it to you. And as Igor said, go try it, go figure it out. It's going to be really cool. We'll get you to see some information and just go there and experience what ListenTo is, experience what Igor's created. Yeah. Pretty amazing.
And by the way, it's incredibly affordable, bashfully affordable.
These are smart folks. And they have a guy named Eddie who wears turtlenecks and thinks he's sexy on top of it. So just know that. Igor, man, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, Igor.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks. It's a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure. Yeah. Holler at all our friends there, and we'll be in touch shortly.
Absolutely.
Will do. Cool. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Peace.